The midnight train rumbled down the deserted tracks, its dim headlights casting eerie shadows on the dark woods that whizzed by in a blur. The wind howled through the open windows, whipping the passengers' hair into a frenzy as they clung to their seats for dear life. The air was cold, a bitter chill that seemed to seep into their bones despite the worn coats and blankets that wrapped them like shrouds. The conductor's voice crackled over the intercom, a monotone drone that seemed to lull the passengers into a false sense of security. "Next stop, Willow Creek," he announced, his words dripping with a flat, affectless tone that sent shivers down the spines of those who'd heard it before. Willow Creek was a small, rural station, hardly more than a tiny platform and a dilapidated shed, but something about it seemed off. As the train hurtled through the darkness, the passengers began to feel a creeping sense of unease. They glanced around at one another, their eyes lingering on the faces of strangers who seemed to be watching them with an unblinking gaze. The lights flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls of the train, and the conductor's voice came again, this time with a hint of something almost nervous. "Willow Creek, next stop." The train slowed, its brakes screeching in protest as it coasted into the station. The passengers leaned forward, peering out into the darkness, but there was nothing to see. No lights, no signs, no platform. Just an endless expanse of darkness that seemed to stretch on forever. The conductor's voice came once more, a low, gravelly whisper that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest passengers. "This is Willow Creek." A collective gasp went up from the passengers as they realized, with a jolt of terror, that Willow Creek was not on any map. It was a station that didn't exist, a place that seemed to be hidden from the world. The train came to a stop, its engine dying with a final, mournful sigh, and the passengers sat in stunned silence as they waited for, what? For something to happen. For something to emerge from the darkness. The darkness seemed to be pressing in on them, a living, breathing thing that was suffocating them with its weight. The passengers exchanged nervous glances, their eyes darting back and forth as they searched for a way out. But there was none. They were trapped, suspended in a world that seemed to be spinning out of control. As they sat there, frozen with fear, the train's lights flickered once more, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The conductor's voice came again, a low, whispery hiss that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest passengers. "This is the end of the line." A scream went up from the back of the train, followed by a chorus of terrified gasps as the passengers realized, with a jolt of horror, that they were alone. The train was empty, the passengers vanished into thin air. The conductor's voice came once more, a low, mocking chuckle that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest passengers. "You should have stayed on the next train." The darkness seemed to be closing in on them, a suffocating shroud that was crushing them with its weight. The passengers scrambled to their feet, frantically searching for a way out, but there was none. They were trapped, suspended in a world that seemed to be spinning out of control. As they stumbled through the darkness, their hands outstretched in front of them like blind people, they stumbled upon a door. It was hidden behind a tattered curtain, a door that seemed to lead, somewhere. Somewhere dark. Somewhere deadly. The passengers pushed through the door, their hearts pounding in their chests as they stumbled into a world that seemed to be wrong. The air was thick with an otherworldly energy, a pulsating power that seemed to be calling to them. And then, in an instant, everything went black. As the darkness receded, the passengers found themselves back on the train, the conductor's voice coming over the intercom once more. "Willow Creek, next stop." But something was wrong. The passengers looked around at one another, their eyes locking in a shared moment of horror as they realized, with a jolt of terror, that they were not alone. They were not the only passengers on the train. There was something else on board, something that was watching them with cold, calculating eyes. And then, as the train pulled into the next station, the conductor's voice came once more, a low, whispery hiss that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest passengers. "Welcome to Willow Creek."